Lori. I am here today with a what I wore this month video for the month of December 2015. I had my cycle at the very end of December, the 25th to the 31st. It was 6 days long and it was a little bit longer in terms of the monthly cycle was longer than normal. I believe it was about 36 days. So I got my period a week later than I had thought I was going to get it. I used quite a few cloth pads and also some methods of internal protection. So we'll start with those. Actually, the first ones that I used were 3 interlabial pads. I made these myself. I really like the triangle shape. I tend to find interlabial pads a little bit bulky. So when I wear them, I just wear them with the tip to the top against my body and the lengthwise against a cloth pad. So it still disperses the blood the full length, but you don't need to have quite so much inside. And I don't use these as a method of absorption. They're intended to direct blood flow because I tend to bleed in a very long length on a pad if I'm only wearing a pad. So I like to be able to, especially if I'm sitting down, ensure that the blood flow is going to stay on the pad and not off the back or off the front. So I use those 3 interlabial pads on the first day of my cycle, along with the on my second day of my first full day, but my second day of my cycle. And then I also used my Ruby cup. This is the original Ruby cup, and it has the stem trimmed off. And I also used 2 sea sponge tampons. All right, so for the actual pads, the first one that I used is this 14-inch really beautiful geisha pad that I got recently from Eco Owl by Netta. This was a custom order. It's a moderate, cotton-topped, fleece-backed. And I wore this, I actually started my cycle in the evening, which is abnormal for me. I normally start first thing in the morning. So I just wore this on my first day. I wore it from probably about 6 o'clock at night until I went to bed. And then overnight, I put on this absolutely awesome 14.5-inch pancake pad from WIWTM. I seen this a few weeks ago and I absolutely fell in love with it. So I picked that up and it was my first time wearing it. Sorry, I just bumped the camera. Then the second day of my cycle, I woke up and put on this, I believe it's 12-inch flare-shaped hoo-hoo rags pad with these really adorable chunky bathtub ladies. And I wore this with my interlabial pad. And then I switched out to this 12-inch Sailor Moon, Sailor Moon pad from A Splendid Story. It is an exposed core pad. It's cotton topped and wind pro backed. If I didn't mention it, this is also cotton topped and wind blocked backed, which is the same thing as wind pro, essentially. And then I switched out for overnight into this another 14-inch WIWTM pad in this really pretty Constellations print. It's cotton topped and wind pro backed. It's a heavy. And then the next morning I put on this 14-inch OBV topped wind block back curvy hoo-hoo rags. This is a new pad as well. It's my first month wearing it and I absolutely loved it. The dye job on it is beautiful. The sewing is beautiful. It's super, super, super soft and a really comfy pad to wear. And I wore this pad on its own, and then when I put on this pad, which is a 12-inch coffee print that I made myself, when I put it on, I wore another sea sponge tampon in conjunction with this. And then when I was done with this one, I put on this absolutely amazing 14-inch Lazy Creek Boutique in the Little Shop of Horrors print. I love this, and I love Lazy Creek Boutique. Her pads are I'm not pushing at all on this. That is how thin this heavy pad is, and that's doubled up. Like one-sided, you almost can't even see it. It's so thin, and I'm blown away every time I wear them how much they absorb. I don't even know how it's possible for it to be able to absorb that much and be that thin. But it's magic, and I love these pads. This is a knit topped, and it is WinPro backed. This pad is cotton topped, and it's polar fleece backed. Overnight that night, I put on this 16-inch Shark Week pad from Yurtcraft. It's cotton topped, and the what does she call this? Power Shield Pro backing. It's a thin, kind of like a nylon backing, but it's not slippery like nylon. It almost feels like cotton, but you can hear that sound. It doesn't make that noise when you're wearing it because you wear it this side up, but it's so thin, even though it's one of her heavy pads, and it's fantastic for overnight. You almost can't tell that you're even wearing it, even though it is one of the really big pads. So that morning I put on this awesome 12-inch Lazy Creek Boutique. It is a knit topped and wind blocked back, or WinPro backed. She marks her pads with an H on the back, so this one is a heavy, and again it is very, very, very thin, and very comfortable to wear. It even has a bit of stretch to it, which is nice. It really conforms to your body. The next pad I wore is a pad that I got recently from my swap with Pad Thai cloth. It's a 12-inch moderate, cotton topped, fleece backed, and it's also super comfy. I wore this pad in conjunction with my Ruby cup. Actually, I wore both of these pads, the Lazy Creek Boutique and the Pad Thai with my Ruby. And then that night I emptied my Ruby and reinserted it and just wore this 13-inch, 12, probably about 13-inch. I'm trying to remember the name of the type of peak topped fabric. This is a custom print fabric from Spoonflower. I made this pad myself. So it's peak topped and fleece backed. And then the next morning I woke up, I removed my cup because my flow was starting to lighten. So I just put on this 12-inch fig leaves pad. It's flannel topped and WinPro backed, and it's one of her ultra fluff pads. So it's not very thick, but it does have a layer of toweling inside of it, which makes it extra absorbent. I then just put on another fig leaves pad. It's a cotton topped, WinPro backed, 12-inch moderate. It's very thin. I think there's only a couple layer of flannels in this pad, and she doesn't often make the 12 inches in the moderate pads, but I wish she would make more than them because I absolutely loved this pad. And then I actually was able to wear this for the remainder of the day because I really was lightening up. So I wore it to bed, and in the morning I got up and took a shower, and I put on this Amila pad. It is the Athene. So I think it's about 12.5 inches. No, can't be. Sorry, it's like 11, about 10.5, 11 inches, and it's cotton topped, and her patented backer fabric. It's like a scuba, I don't know, scuba fabric feeling, like what they make diving suits out of. It's kind of narrow, but it's good for those days that are not, your cycle's not very heavy. And then the last pad that I wore this in the evening and overnight on the 6th day, is Nighttime Skies and Fireflies pad. I have scrundies in this print as well that match, and I wore the matching scrundies on the day that I wore this. And it was hilarious. So it is a Dracula, and if you see here, it says Dracula's tea bag. It makes me giggle every time I see it, and I thought it was hilarious. So I wore this on my last day of my cycle. It is a knit topped and fleece backed, and it's got lots of snap options, which is nice. And I really enjoyed wearing this pad as well. So that is a total, I think, of 21 pads. 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Oh no, sorry. That's only 16 pads. I'm surprised that's fewer than I would have thought I would use, but I used a lot more internal protection this month than I normally would. So that's part of the reason. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. But otherwise, thanks so much for watching and have a great day. Bye.